Hello. Amy Soper was going to be here tonight. She might be a few minutes late, but I can tell you what we're going to ask you about anyway. Last November, there was a trails bond that passed through the state of Maine, and now you can write grants to be able to obtain funding from it. And what we're proposing to do is kind of look at French Falls, which is across Route 4, which is owned by the Androscoggin Land Trust. And the school property right out here that kind of connects up from the elementary school and goes up behind the field hockey field and connects to the J Recreation area, which is about 150 acres behind the school. And we want to write a grant that's going to kind of encompass all three of these properties. And basically put in trails and improve some of the infrastructure that's out there. The biggest thing that we need from the RSU is basically permission to do the work. We're in the grant writing process right now, so we don't have any money actually yet, but we kind of need to make sure that all of the players are going to be willing participants as we go. Amy had drafted up a contract. We sent that over to Mr. Albert. He's having the school attorneys review that. Once they clear everything, we get the I's dotted and the T's crossed. We'd just like to have permission. Basically, the land trust is going to be the fiscal agent for the grant. So basically, all we need from the school is permission to do work. One of the big things that we're looking to do, the Outdoor Ed Center that's right over here as you come up and make that sharp corner before you get to the concert entrance parking lot there. You look right out, you can see those four buildings. We want to make that access trail that just goes out to those buildings 100% ADA compliant and wheelchair accessible. It's pretty accessible now, but it really doesn't quite meet up to what ADA is, and we want to make sure that we make that fully accessible to anybody that wants to get out there. We're also looking at a connector trail from there that'll run kind of up in the woods behind the field hockey field, cut across and into that rec property. And our vision for it is you kind of have all these trails down at French Falls, you cross over Route 4, come in through the elementary school, you're back into trails, and you can go all the way up through the rec property, and everything has this kind of interconnectivity, and that's kind of our goal. So I think what we're asking for, if Mr. Albert agrees, is your guys' permission to do that, and when the contract comes through, we can deal with that.
Yeah. So the goal is we're going to have the lawyers take a look at it, and then we'll bring it back to you guys to vote. We wasn't sure if they were going to have it ready or not tonight, but we wanted them to present so we can get it started. Is my mic on? Now it is. Okay. I'll get closer. There you go. Thank you. Yeah. So when it comes back, just like when we did with the chaga thing, we had the chaga thing. There's a lot of legalese out there that we have to make sure that we're covered with, but I think this is a great project. I think it's going to be good for the three towns and the school district as well to have that ability to do those things. We just want to make sure we have it written the correct way. And when I had sent it quickly to the lawyers, he said he'll have somebody there that does this stuff. He did say there was also a change in the legislature on one of the rules, so he said that's why they really want to take a look at it so that we have all our ducks in a row before we agree.
And just a quick update on the Chaga project. We've had students out there. Mr. Baker, our biology teacher, is actually teaching a course in mycology. So there's a semester elective class. Kids are out studying fungi and all these things. And we actually collected our year 2 data. We put the stuff in a year ago, and now we're getting our second year of data. And really, it's going to take 7 years. But we're moving forward with the project, so the kids are getting the benefit of that already.
See if she wants to talk.
Amy.
I have to stand up here?
Sure.
Sorry.
I think I've explained it all. Do you guys have any questions?
I have a couple of
Sure.
questions. How much are you asking for as far as the grant goes? And is this a people walking trail or ATVs or what are you thinking?
People.
People. Okay.
And the one going into the outdoor center, we're looking at ADA compliance with too. But yeah, mostly people. Do you want to?
Yes, all people, the section from,
Yeah, go ahead.
talking to the mic, okay. The section from the school campus to The outdoor education center will be ADA. And then there will be a connection trail from the outdoor education to the rec field, to the rec trails. And the grant is under 70,000, but that encompasses more than just the Spruce Mountain campus,
It's part of a bigger grant.
the main trails grant.
Other questions?
So just to be clear, the trails that come on the school property, people won't be riding ATVs or whatnot on them?
Nope, pedestrian transportation only.
Yeah, I gotta do it too. Did everybody hear that? No? Oh, Tanya, I asked if there would be ATVs driven on there. Yeah, and they said no. Thank you.
Other questions for Rob?
Will this property be developed by a, I got my own.
Could be.
We're all new to the microphone bit, I guess.
Maybe I got the, can you hear me now?
No?
Oh, fuck. Who will be actually building the trails? Is this going to be under school personnel, or are we going to be hiring that at contractors, volunteer groups like Scouts or other organizations, AmeriCorps, or is that yet to be figured out?
So a lot of the work will be going out to bid to private contractors. We have to have 3 competitive bids, and it'll also be constructed by volunteers.
And we'll probably have students involved in the process as well. Absolutely.
Other questions for Amy and Rob? Thank you. I will accept a motion to approve, to authorize the Androscoggin Land Trust.
We need to wait until we hear from
Oh.
the lawyers. We put it on there thinking that the lawyers might come back and put it already. Like I said, I'm for it, I believe, I'm not gonna say the board is or not, I'm sure they all are nodding their heads, but until we actually have the legalese taken care of.
Yeah.
When we come back, it should be pretty easy, if you guys know what we're doing.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Public comments. As always, you have 3 minutes, and please address your comments to me. Ed Walsh.
Hello, can you hear me? All right, you guys can hear me. Actually, I thought this was comments towards the board, not to an individual, but okay. So, obviously, this board is close to making a decision on a manufactured problem. You found an answer to a manufactured problem. And just like 2 + 2 = 5, and I see the eyes rolling, you all know it's wrong. It's wrong, and it's dividing this community. So my question for you, as you make this 2 + 2 = 5 wrong decision, who is going to verify, who is going to violate the very children you're entrusted to protect? Who's going to check their sex? Because I'm telling you, the first person that does it, I'm going to sue. You're not here to protect anybody except your egos. You have a moral obligation to protect everybody here, and you're not doing it. And I'm going to leave that there, because it's obvious most of this board has already made those decisions. And I hope you can live with it, because you're dividing the community even more. And my last comment, frankly, is if we can allow board members to attend virtually, every member of this community should have the opportunity to speak to this board virtually, because there are hundreds of people in this community who don't have the ability to get here for public comment. So if we can attend online as a board, so can everybody else from Jay, Livermore, and Livermore Falls. If you can't be here, then you shouldn't be here.
Hi, my name is Lynn Willett. I'm a resident of Jay. I have learned much about Title IX and the Maine Civil Rights Act and RSU73 policy over the past few months. I have listened to every public comment made at school board meetings about the issue that has culminated in the revised RSU73 ACDC policy. I thank you for the opportunity to make and to hear public comment. Still, why was this an issue in RSU 73 since no transgender student has signed up for an athletic team? Why did this issue have to be fast-tracked in RSU 73 when it was already being considered in federal courtrooms? Why were multiple recommendations to let the courts handle this issue ignored or disregarded? Why was this issue important enough to justify the violation of the Maine Civil Rights Act? How did this plan come up so quickly when the new board convened in April and May? How could such a weighty decision be made with so little public discussion and sharing of views of school board members? Why could the board not have reached a solution that did not isolate a vulnerable part of our student population? How will school employees identify students who are transgender? How does a transgender person feel to be treated inequitably? Much remains to be learned.
Ellen Grimblett.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Grunblatt. I'm a resident of Jay. I'm the product of a tiny rural high school, but I was lucky to have an English teacher who loved the classics, who told us of Cato the Elder, the Roman senator, speaking in 140 BCE, who said, "Carthage must be destroyed." Every speech, no matter what was being discussed, ended with, "Carthage must be destroyed." Attending these meetings, I feel like an observer in the Roman Senate. No matter who raises an objection to this policy, another point of view, a cautionary warning, the answer is always the same. Carthage must be destroyed. The absence of engagement with the issues raised by this policy is striking. Even more shocking is the inability of the majority of the board to identify the problems in this school system that this policy is supposed to address. Some board members have simply said, "We protect girls," but I don't see coaches swarming the public comments section asking for their athletes to be protected. I don't see parents, with one exception, speaking for this policy. I don't see girls themselves asking for this sort of protection, and there have been no incidents of girls being injured by the status quo. As we heard last meeting, this policy will create a whole host of problems for educators and school administrators. Impacts which the majority of the board totally disregard in their single-minded pursuit of this political agenda, an agenda that is discriminatory and harmful. It has been previously noted that this policy is illegal under Maine state law and the Maine Human Rights Act. Enactment opens the door to litigation against the school system, litigation that will surely be unsuccessful unless and until the law changes, and the costs of such litigation will be paid by taxpayers. It has previously been noted that this policy is unenforceable. Who will be the gender police? This is Maine, not Iran. It has been previously noted that this policy is likely to increase bullying of students perceived as non-binary, trans, or gay lesbian. Unfortunately, some students may feel empowered to turn on other students on the basis of such perception. It has been previously noted that the mental health of non-conforming students is detrimentally affected by being discriminated against. It has been previously noted that that athletic competition may be impacted, since this policy is in opposition to the rules of the Maine Principals Association. Violation of MPA rules may lead to consequences ranging from reprimand to suspension of our teams. It has been previously noted that this policy limits the ability of educators to teach scientifically accurate curricula, potentially curtailing students' scope of knowledge that they will need to pursue higher education and the careers of their choice. Cato was a political actor, and he got his wish. Carthage was destroyed. It is still possible for this board to forswear divisive politics and arm themselves instead
Thank you,
to
Ellen.
solve the real problems
Thank you.
facing this school district. Thank you.
Board comments. Mason.
I'm going to give the student representative board report. I'm going to start off with an athletics update. Congratulations to Evan Hamilton from the golf team for qualifying for the KVAAC Class B state championships. And then this Friday, the varsity football team plays away against Cape Elizabeth. So today, the high school guidance department held tours for the University of Maine at Orono and Hudson University. Juniors and seniors attended that trip, and I believe it was very well attended by students wanting to go post-secondary. And then finally, for seniors, the guidance department is hosting on October 14th at 6 p.m. in the library here at the high school a FAFSA night with a representative from the University of Maine at Farmington.
Thank you, Mason.
Yes.
Other board comments? You all set, Tanya? You all set, Tanya? Superintendent's report.
I'll pull it close, Elaine. I know. Since last meeting, I've had the opportunity to read to 1 third grade, 1 second grade, 1 first grade, 1 TK, and 1 kindergarten class. Like I said, it's the favorite part of my job. And when I read to the kids, I remind them that my own 14-year-old daughter does not allow me to read to her anymore, so that I really appreciate that they allow me to read to them. I got to play with the Spruce Mountain golf team and staff at the annual golf tournament that Diane Fenlison puts on. It's a great way to spend time with the players, sharing a sport that we all love. Ms. Parker and I had a Zoom meeting with Child Development Services to discuss the adding on of services for 3- and 4-year-olds. In the future, Ms. Parker will be sharing with you what we need to do to follow the law that was passed dealing with this. I also chaired the Western Maine Recertification Committee meeting. We approved the superintendent's initial plan for recertification. I also attended the Western Maine Superintendent's meeting this week where we discussed policy making for the new law in regards to temperatures in our buildings. That'll be something that'll be brought to the policy committee at some point in time in the next few months and then brought before the full board.
Questions for Scott? Thank you. TJ.
Good evening, everyone. I was going to start off with our enrollment. Right now we're at 422. Talk a little bit about our attendance. We have our ad hoc committees have been hard at work these past month and last year looking at contracts for students who are missing school, where we meet with the parents and where we set up a individual plan for the student to try to get them back into school. That is going to start next week. We're going to start working through that type of stuff. Progress reports went out the other day. We are actually ahead of the game on percentage of failure rates. It's gone down about 5%, which is really good for our last year to this year progress reports, which is always a plus when we can move those numbers down. Also, with our ad hoc committees, we are doing staff and school culture building. We are doing this, we have a club situation for our students during Phoenix time. It's once a week. things anywhere from sports to reading to looking at new types of learning in biology and those types of things. We're doing, and the kids, it's been very well received. I just wanted to make sure that you all heard that. It's changing a little bit of the culture, and what we're trying to do is get kids excited for learning and get them back into the reading, and our staff is really making a good headway with this. I'm pretty proud of them. Also, congratulations to Scott McDaniel. I don't know if you guys saw that. Oxford Plains Speedway 2025 champion. We did bring the car into the gymnasium. The kids absolutely loved it. It was actually a pretty cool time. Yeah, Scott and I, about 6 o'clock in the morning, were pushing that thing right in. So it was fun. And thank you, Mason, for bringing up the senior parent meeting that's starting. We are going to do more of those this year. We do have Julie Farmer from the UMF Finance Office who's going to come in and explain financial aid, because I will tell you, as a guy who does financial aid and FAFSA, it's a pain in the butt, but we have people that know how to help them. So it's been a good thing. Some other good news that I just want to make sure that you know. We just hosted a math team event yesterday. Our students did really well from all over the central Maine, Lake region, all the way up through. Our kids did really good, and I'm very proud of them. Our kids are so excited. This is Diane Moray, her and Sean Jagir and that crew. This is what they wanted me to share with you. Our kids are so excited to be back in school and are cooking, learning, and just plain happy. More kids are being welcomed into the mainstream classrooms. Also, we have the most amazing staff to support these kids. If you ever get a chance, come in and be a part of it. It's pretty cool. Also, the good vibes. So the vibes among the kids, and this is one of our teachers asked me to share this because he wanted me, and it was Scott McDaniel. The vibes among kids just generally feel positive this year. The extracurriculars we are offering are building positive connections to the school. I had several kids go on the Flagstaff trip. That right there is just a great opportunity for our kids, and I hope we can do more of that. We plan on doing more of that with skiing this year, Black Mountain, that type of stuff, so we'll be coming back to you for some more permissions. Also, the once-a-week club ratio feels just right, and our kids are getting a lot with that. We're doing a lot more with helping support kids with the RTI, and also with just meeting with our teachers for support for our students. So it's been really good, and that's where we're at.
Questions for TJ? Michelle?
Hey, TJ. Just for clarification, I heard you mentioned some of the extra activities during Phoenix time. You mentioned like a shifting of culture. Can you just help me understand a little further what your thought is like?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So having positive model in a classroom, and kids can be a part of that, creating that atmosphere with the teachers facilitating, is really what we're trying to do.
Okay,
So,
like
yep.
a teacher-student connection, like
Teacher-student connections, student-student connections, having that day where they can meet with each other and just have a good time.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Other questions for TJ? Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris?
All right. Good evening. The middle school has an enrollment of 275 right now, and our daily attendance average is at 94%, which is still very, very strong. This week, the students took the main through-year assessment for the fall. Our 7th grade students leave Tuesday the 14th for Camp Kiev. All but, I think, 10 to 12 kids are not going, which is a good number. Next Friday, the 17th, we're going to have our first Student of the Month Phoenix Award Assembly. Fall sports are wrapping up this week, and playoffs will start next. Progress reports go out on the 24th, and on the 24th, we also have our first school dance of the year. Picture Day is going to be October 28th. On October 31st, we have Choice Matters coming to present to us in the morning. Then they're going to go up and present to the high school afterwards. Our parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for November 3rd and 5th. November 10th is our Veterans Day Assembly, and right now I just spoke with Mike Willett from the VFW today, and he's looking for some more veterans to come speak with our students. So if you guys know anybody, have them reach out to Mike or myself, and we can get them hooked up. And then overall for the behaviors this year, they've been very good. At the middle school, we only have 5 out-of-school suspensions and 2 in-school suspensions.
Those kids that don't go to Camp Kiev, what do they do?
They usually they'll come to school and then they'll end up having some work for them, and they kind of try to follow some of the 8th grade schedule if they can. They'll join a class there, or they'll go sit in a classroom by themselves and just do some work.
So is this a behavior thing why they're not going, or a
No,
choice thing?
choice.
A choice.
Yep, it's all
Okay.
choice.
Okay.
So even if a kid had an issue behaviorally or something, I always encourage them to go, because this makes that connection with their peers and really builds a lot of those skills that maybe that kid was missing. So.
Other questions for Chris? Tina?
Yeah, you mentioned a presentation on Halloween, Choice Matters.
Yeah.
Can you just give
So,
me a top line on
Choice
that?
Matters, last year, they come in and they speak to kids about making appropriate choices and stuff that can maybe mess up your whole life. Last year, we had a gentleman come in and speak to the student body. He was a successful college basketball player and ended up killing somebody in a drunken accident, and then how he spent like 11 years in prison, and how that one choice, really impacted his life. So.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Elaine.
Is that loud enough? Tanya, can you hear me? Okay, right. Just checking. When there's good news out in the community, you should hear it. And I happened to be at breakfast today with my retired grade 3 team who has a staff meeting once a month for breakfast, even though we're well over the age of. But I had a waitress who spoke to me about how pleased she was with what she was seeing from the administration at the middle school, and that rules were being followed, rules were being enforced, and that as a community member and a parent, she was thrilled with that.
I'm glad to hear it.
I want to thank you and your staff.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a village for sure. So.
One of the letters that we received in the correspondence was from a grandparent who saw a football game, a soccer game, game anyway. The kid went down on the other team, and everybody took a knee. And this grandparent was so impressed with how quiet everything was, how respectful everybody was. And again, it's one of those things, it's nice to hear good things about our schools. So, again,
thank you.
pass that on to your
I will,
coaching staffs.
I absolutely will.
I just want to make a plug for Camp Kiev. My granddaughter went and last year, the year before, and she had a really good time. She really didn't want to go. She was certain she was going to stay, home or stay at the school or whatever. But she went. She had a really good time. So the kids that aren't going, I hope that maybe throughout life, you look back and say, oh, darn, I should have done that. So it's hard to see them not go, and I know you probably encourage them the best you can, but everybody should really go.
We've had former students or 8th graders talk to them about going. I've called all the parents. I've talked to the kids individually. Teachers have talked to all the kids. We've really tried to get them to go, but, just sometimes they just don't want to be away from home, so.
Other questions for Chris? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sherry?
Hello. So, in special education, we currently have 332 students. That's 2 less than my last report, and this includes 16 open referrals. The primary school currently has 64 students with IEPs. That's an increase of 3. The elementary school has 82, an increase of 1. The middle school has 74, an increase of 1, and the high school currently has 112, which is down 7. We continue to have 11 students out of district and special purpose schools for day treatment programming. We have 2 students who are discharged from their programs, and we're pursuing new programs for them to attend because we don't have the resources here in our district. We have 1 more student who we are pursuing a day treatment program to better meet his needs. Our current open positions are the same as my last report. We have 1 EdTech 1 open at the primary school being filled by a long-term sub, 1 EdTech 2 at the elementary school currently being filled by a long-term sub, 1 EdTech 2 at the middle school is being filled half-time by a long-term sub, and 3 EdTech 1s at the high school. We have been able to get 1 sub that is working 3 days a week. 2 of those positions are in the life skills room. There is a lot of medical need in there. So being down 2 ed techs in that one program is a huge hit. So I'm thankful to the person that came in for those 3 days. As Scott said, we had our first meeting with the Maine Department of Education regarding the transition of 4-year-old programming from CDS to Maine Public Schools, and we have a second meeting scheduled in November. The law says we have to pick up 3 and 4-year-olds, but by being part of cohort 3, we can pick up the 3-year-olds in year 4. So we don't have to do them all at once, and it's 2 different laws, parts of the law to interpret. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to do it over 2 years. The meeting in October and then the one in November are informational meetings. The November one is more for fiscal needs. And we have not fully committed, like even having these meetings, they're just potentials at this point. At this time, we're anticipating 11 students, age 4, in special education with a variety of disabilities. The funding follows a different formula than K-12 and will be funded at 100% by the state. In reviewing the CDS paperwork, I also noticed that there are 17 students with IEPs who will be age 5 in the fall, entering kindergarten. This number tends to change between now and April when we have our meetings, but this is the biggest number we've anticipated for a few years. The funding for this age group is the responsibility of RSU73, so we will be preparing the budget accordingly. Scott, TJ, and I, on the other end of things, will be meeting soon to discuss space at the high school for the Life Skills program. We have several students eligible to continue with programming until age 22 for services to transition into adult programming. I'm anticipating 1 student completing high school this year within the Life Skills program, which currently has a caseload of 17 and is split between 2 classrooms. Next year, we have 8 students moving from grade 8 to grade 9. So there's a potential of 25 students in that program and not nearly enough space. On a good note, we had grant funding to spend on supplies in September, and we provided new supplies to all the special education programs across the district. We have inclusion tables coming that are separated into 4 sections, which can go up, down, move in and out, so it accommodates any type of seating or even standing. Each section moves independently. A floor lift for students so that our staff doesn't have to do as much transition. And the physical lifting. We have OT and PT tools, alternate seating options, noise-canceling headphones, curriculum tools, and even some ADA accessible playground pieces for the elementary school playground, which we do have 3 students in wheelchairs, so that's in that building. And the playground itself is not handicap accessible because there's curbing and the bumpiness of the playground. The deliveries are coming in already, and we are very excited to be able to provide these new things to our students. Finally, and I forgot this, sorry Laura, I'll add it to my report later. Thank you to Norma for providing day trip transportation for some of our students who are not able to spend the night at Camp Kiev. She was able to get a van, so they will be there for the majority of the day.
Do you think if the positions in the life skills at the high school were other than Ed Tech 1, that would make a difference
I
as far
don't-
as getting them filled?
We have two Ed Tech 2 positions in other buildings, and I don't have any applicants for those either.
Questions for Sherry? Michelle?
It sounds to me like you're planning, just to help me understand, you're planning now for some pretty, I don't want to say radical, but pretty intense additions to the program, substantial additions for next fall, projected next fall, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you have the supports that you need to help you navigate through this large projection? Like, do you need additional supports from
The high
school
school will
board?
need additional staff, for sure.
Yes.
Up to age 22 is the responsibility of RSU73 funding, so that will be in the budget.
And what about the planning process itself to help you get to that point where you feel like you can confidently take this on, or
Space is a huge issue. And
Yeah.
it's real, and that's why Scott and TJ and I are going to have to meet. Because not only would we have 25 kids, but we have 4 power chairs.
right?
So, and we have visually impaired students, so we need to have the maneuverability for those chairs, but we also have to have a very predictable environment for the students that have visual impairments. So that's why I'm bringing it up now, is because there's going to take some planning.
And if there's any additional ways that we, the board, can be supportive, or I don't know what I'm really trying to say, but it's like I'm very concerned and want to make sure that we can help you progress in a way that
Yeah,
is supportive of the community and of our staff and yourself, of course.
Some districts have created transition programs, outside of the building. So like Scott had mentioned, maybe we create a transition program down and use one of the rooms at the central office. But I'm not sure that would alleviate enough, because the numbers that are 18 to 22 are smaller than the rest of the group. So it'll take some creative thinking, reaching out to other schools to see what they're doing as well. Because every district in Maine is being hit with this. That group that's at the high school is very large.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge all the way through, but even bigger challenge now because they have more years of eligibility.
Yeah.
Other questions for Sherry? Thank you.
Thanks.
Darcy?
Good evening, everybody. I've invited Casey, our Dean of Students, because she's going to do a quick little presentation on something she's spearheading at the school, and she's also helped me gather some data that I'm going to talk about. But to begin, currently we have, and this number has changed, 322 students at our building. We are averaging about 1 or 2 students a week in our building. Last time I reported was 312, and now we are up to 322, and I know of I believe 2 more students that need to pick up registration packets. 38 students are chronically absent at this time, but we had several students who wanted to take a little family trip in September for about a week or so. But our attendance rate as a whole is still at 95% or above, which is fabulous. Our second grade class has dipped a little bit into the 93% in October, but we are celebrating perfect attendance and, doing all the things to help get them there. Our academic progress, we just finished our NUIA testing. You should have that data in your packets, I believe, if they were in my board report, correct? Oh, they'll be in the notes, all right. Our data looks really good. We only have about 21 students in kindergarten not meeting the standards. That's huge. A lot of it I'm going to have to attribute. Casey and I looked at our TK data, and all TK students are at grade level standard beginning in kindergarten. That's amazing. So huge, celebration to those teachers. And we're going to actually look at the pre-K data too to see, is that a huge impact for students that had no TK, no pre-K, or anything like that coming into kindergarten. So, but our data looks really good. Second grade, we got to get some work. But I kind of looked at that and I said, well, second grade's attendance isn't so great. So maybe that is attributed to their test scores. So we're going to kind of look at that data a little bit more. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing more ELA curriculum PD to get them going with that. I know we have a lot of teachers that are really happy about having the opportunity and support of time. They need this time to look at the curriculum, plan together, work out any kinks, and get their schedules all set. So they were very grateful for this time. We have a Fall Family Festival coming up in October from 6 to 7. Always a huge hit for that. We have a day of festivities planned for Halloween. Parents are invited to our costume parade because we want to bring in the community as much as possible. We had Fire Safety Week, as well as pictures this week. It was a busy week, but the kids did really well, had a great time. Huge thank you to the Livermore Falls Fire Department that they come out and do a wonderful presentation, and the kids get to explore the truck. And today we did our fire drill, and they love to see that. And so now I'm going to let, I also, for community engagement, we had the Simply Smiles. You'll see some data in that for your notes. Can't thank them enough for what we bring to the school and how we take care of our kids that can't get to a dentist. The work that they did and the compassion that they showed our kids was just heartwarming. Last year when I went to the Maine Principals Association conference, it had a focus on student leadership. And I said, well, pre-K to 2, how can I get that student leadership in my building with those littles? And you can do it, because she's going to do it. She's spearheading a leadership team with our second grade, and I'm going to let her speak to that.
Hi, everyone. So we started, we had our first meeting yesterday, actually. So we want to highlight our second graders, as our top dogs of the building, we call them. And we have so many that are just doing such great things, and we want them to be able to stand out in their school. So we, every month, our second grade teachers will nominate one student to be on the student leadership team. And they were tickled pink to be selected for the first month. We had our first meeting yesterday, so we'll meet once weekly during lunch, 6 second grade students. And yesterday we talked about what makes a leader, what qualities do good leaders have, and what does that look like around our school? And they were so excited. One little boy said, I feel like George Washington being the first one selected. And so that was really sweet to hear. And so they are doing some special jobs around our school. We have 2 girls that are helping us with morning announcements. We have a couple of kids stay in the hallway at the end of the day to do hallway monitoring with their safety vests, and it's really cute.
They are so cute.
And a couple kids out by the bus, helping, reminding kids to walk and stuff. So we're hoping to get them into classrooms to support our kindergarten students, doing some reading with them, and just really highlighting these kids and letting their leadership shine through the school. So we're excited.
Questions for Darcy? Oh, go ahead.
When it comes to attendance, that I know my granddaughter was in second grade, came home with September with perfect attendance, and just getting that award made her so happy and made her brother jealous because he had been sick. So I think just giving those awards do help.
We passed out 150 perfect attendance awards.
Other questions for Darcy?
Thank you.
Thank you. So I met with Scott a few times about agenda and a few other things, but other than that, I don't have very much. We have a policy meeting coming up October 20th, finance meeting on the 23rd, and I will accept a motion regarding the second and final reading of policy ACDC, coordination of federal and state law. Discussion. Elaine.
This evening, my comments are not for the directors, but for the students, staff, and taxpayers of the district. Sadly, there are directors who tonight will choose to ignore the solemn oath of office they took and to vote, number one, knowingly to violate the law of the state of Maine by voting to support this proposed policy, and number two, will, by the very words in the policy, to create a safe and welcoming environment that will alienate and target a group of students. I apologize to you. These directors are voting for their personal beliefs over their responsibility to their oaths of office. This decision is not this board's to make. The courts will decide this issue. By passing this policy, the taxpayers will be on the hook for any lawsuits ensuing should a student from this district be denied a position on the team. I'm not going to change any minds tonight, but this is not a day I will be proud to say I served on this board of directors.
Other comments? Tina?
Before I start my prepared comments, I just want to mention that if anybody has specific questions about how this repeated statement about it being, again, a violation of Maine state law, if you read the letter from Mr. Picard that's in your files, in our files, he does bring in some of the specifics that make it quite clear. With this vote, we are choosing to whether to uphold the settled laws of the state of Maine or pursue a path of unnecessary risk and betrayal of principle. The proposed policy, ACDC, is a rejection of the legal fidelity required of us as board members. Before we talk about legal conflict, we should address the process itself. Fellow board members, we voted to accept the first reading of this policy, even after being informed at least twice that the second attempted sentence in the draft is an incomplete sentence and one that doesn't actually say anything coherent. This issue is one of several points of concern brought to the board that the proponents have simply chosen to dismiss. That reflects a lapse in our board's commitment, to both clear policy language and to being responsive to the input of our stakeholders. The proposed language does clearly state that this policy is based upon the executive orders issued by the President of the United States and statements made by the United States Attorney General. But a political interpretation from Washington, D.C. is not law. It is an opinion. RSU73's lawyers have advised us not to initiate this policy. That advice did not change when we hired them to draft the language. The litigation that we are inviting will most likely not be covered by our insurance, potentially leaving the full cost on the backs of local taxpayers. The Maine Supreme Court set a binding precedent over a decade ago in Doe versus RSU26. The Maine Human Rights Act is clear, and it has been upheld in the courts for years. While the Trump administration may disagree with the precedent, an executive order does not overturn it. Perhaps the courts will do so, but we are way out of line in picking sides in this dispute. We are unnecessarily jumping into a conflict that is being handled as it should be in the courts. This policy puts our local taxpayers at risk of paying a legal defense that we could avoid by simply following the law. And make no mistake, this proposal chooses to follow a political opinion instead of the laws of the state of Maine. That isn't sound governance. It's ignoring the rule book we were elected to uphold. The rules of our constitutional republic demand that every local body, like this board, adhere to established legal framework. It is the only promise that we as elected officials are required to make, and every one of us at this table has made that oath at least once. Our feelings about any particular issue, no matter how heartfelt, do not negate that oath. The second, and perhaps worse, failure is one of conscience. This policy fosters an us versus them mentality that undermines the basic educational principles we are trusted to uphold. I recognize that the increasing visibility of transgender people in the mainstream is a cultural change that challenges the norms that our Western society has held on to for generations. It may be uncomfortable, and that discomfort is understandable. However, our duty is not to retreat to comfort or to legislate personal beliefs. Our duty is to respond by ensuring that every student can feel supported and included, and in this case, neither the policy nor the process answers that call. This policy insists that we recognize only two sexes, biological male and biological female. By attempting to legislate a simplified definition of gender that is legally and scientifically insufficient, this board lays the groundwork for institutional discrimination. It deliberately ignores the clear distinction between biological sex and gender identity, a distinction that is central to Maine's anti-discrimination law. While we are only beginning to understand the biological underpinnings, it's clear that transgender people have existed across cultures and throughout history. When transgender people are accepted as they are, they tend to go about the job of living just like everyone else. But when groups of people are rejected from full participation in society, they tend to have great difficulty in reaching their full potential. The policy we are voting on tonight creates a dynamic that will have that effect on some number of our students. When we adopt a policy that treats a subset of our students with explicit skepticism and suspicion, we are enacting an institutional othering that is morally and legally indefensible. While it may soothe many people's feelings, it is at the expense of the long-term well-being of a segment of our population that carries no blame. Our mandate is to educate all students, not to debate their fundamental right to dignity. I urge my fellow board members to consider the lasting impact of this vote. We must reject policy ACDC, not just because it's legally compromised, but because it's a betrayal of our duty to the constitutional framework that grants us the authority to sit at this table. If we truly care about protecting our students, we should ensure that our schools remain demonstrably compliant with state law and fully committed to the dignity and safety of every student that we serve.
Other discussion?
I actually just recently talked to a couple girls and also a young man about transgenders. They have no issue with people being transgender, none whatsoever. They do have an issue, and the boy was 14 years old, freshman, and he does not want a biological female anywhere where he is going to be exposed, whether he's in the locker room changing for phys ed, if he goes into a bathroom. And the girls felt the same way. They didn't have any issue with anybody that was transgender. Their issue was the same. They don't want a biological male in the locker rooms or in their bathrooms. They just don't feel safe. And with the young man, it wasn't that he didn't feel safe. He was embarrassed to have a biological female in what he considers his private spaces. That's all I have to say.
Other discussion? Holly?
As we move toward enacting our policy ACDC, we should know we are on firm ground protecting girls' sports and spaces. Title IX and the Maine Human Rights Act were written to guarantee equal opportunity for female students, and the very agency charged with enforcing that law, the Maine Human Rights Commission, has publicly stated it has no action to take after 5 Maine school boards adopted similar Title IX directives. That means we can be confident that ensuring fairness and safety for girls is not only right, but fully consistent with Maine law. Far from creating liability, passing policy ACDC honors the original intent of these civil rights protections and safeguards opportunities for our female athletes. The Maine Human Rights Act is not obstructing this decision. Per the Maine Human Rights Commission, the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause dictates that federal law takes precedence over conflicting state laws. the Superintendent's Association testified publicly to the State House that they favor protecting girls in sports. The Maine Principals Association has publicly stated there are no violations for sport teams after deciding to protect girls' sports. I feel confident that we will be on the right side of this by voting to adopt Title IX ACDC.
Other board discussion. Dawn.
I want to speak from the heart tonight about why the school board is considering this policy to keep boys out of girls' spaces in sports. This consideration is not being made in anger or out of exclusion. It is being made out of love. Love for fairness, safety, and common sense. Our daughters deserve a level playing field. They've worked hard for their teams, their records, and their scholarships. We cannot ask them to compete against biological boys and call that equality. That's not progress, that's erasure of what Title IX was originally built to protect. And in private spaces like bathrooms and locker rooms, girls deserve comfort and privacy. That's not discrimination, that's respect for personal boundaries. We care about every student in this district. We'll always treat every child with dignity and kindness, even though we're being told that we will not. But fairness and inclusion are not enemies. They must live side by side. In speaking with people in our community, I've been keeping track of how many are for this policy and how many are against. The numbers are overwhelmingly, people are for it. My count has it at 8 out of 10 people. They talk to me, they grab me in the grocery store, people I don't even know. And they come up and ask the board to be brave and keep moving forward in this direction. From what I've heard from students, they applaud the direction that this board is going on. When it comes to these meetings, these school board meetings, often the people who are against boys and girls' private spaces in sports, they tell me when I meet with them that they don't dare to come up and speak. They're afraid, fear of being shouted down, berated, and heckled. This is truly sad, and it needs to stop. I was just speaking with somebody earlier today that said after the last couple meetings ago that they were berated after the meeting. This needs to stop. We need to be able to have discussions without fear. Our job as a school board is to protect all students, not to bend to pressure from a minority of citizens. This decision reflects that responsibility. We're standing for fairness, for truth, and for the rights of girls to feel safe, respected, and seen. Thank you.
Other discussion. Laura, can I have a roll call, please? Tanya, can you hear Laura? Yes. Yep.
Yes.
No.
No. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. If it's okay with everybody, I'll lump the first readings of the next three, therapy dogs in schools, service animals, and animals in school. I will accept a motion regarding the first reading of those policies. Discussion? Don?
I'm kind of wondering what this is going to look like. Maybe it's blindingly apparent, I don't know. But each time in the instances of these three policies, are these animals going to be in here with a trained professional with them? Excuse me? I did. So I'm just asking the question, and maybe not everybody else got a chance to read them. Okay. So that's my question. Is it always with a trained professional?
Yes, part of the therapy dog or the service animal, there'll be training. There'll be a trainer with them.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Oh, Ava?
I know this is a little bit different since I live on a campus, but it is still school property. And at my campus, we do accept service animals, and there's been really good outcomes. So I just want to extend that. I'm all for this as long as there's just everybody follows the proper guidelines and makes sure that their animals are safe for the property, and I think good things can come out of this.
That's the thing with service animals is they have to be certified, they have to be trained for a certain amount of time and licensed. So, yeah, it's different than, a regular pet. Yeah, yeah.
Animals have such a huge impact on everybody, all of us personally. And I know the training is intensive. It's totally intense for the adults that are handling the animals as well, because it's all about training more so the adult than the dog or cat or whatever it is. And it makes a huge difference. If you've seen pictures of kids reading to animals, oh my God, the kid that will just kind of like puts their head down when it comes to reading and they have a chance to read to a dog, they light up. They are just so excited, and they don't care if they make mistakes, and that's, we want them to be able to be. So yeah, totally encourage this.
Other board comments?
So if a student has an emotional support animal, how will this impact the teachers that are teaching the students? Is this gonna fall on them to?
It all has to fall under the IEP. Anybody can't just bring in a support animal. It has to be part of their IEP and that training, and then hopefully they'll also include the classroom teacher that this is going to be happening.
Okay. Are teachers aware of how this is gonna impact the classroom? Are they gonna have training on what to do if a student has an emotional support animal? Because there are things that come along with having an animal in your classroom.
Emotional support animals aren't covered by these policies. Service animals are a different thing. Those are covered by ADA, and we're required to accept those and accommodate them. Therapy dogs are a different situation where you have a specific animal, a dog, with a specific handler who comes in usually for, a meet and greet kind of thing. They're they're not there because they're trained to deal with a specific disability, right? But they're also not a person's dog that they're bringing in, right? Like the service animal is. And then the other thing just covers animals in the classroom, like having a pet frog or having a tank
Yeah.
full of eels in your corridor, which has actually happened here before. Those kind of it was all good, but, you know, it's to cover those kinds of things.
No, no. I guess I messed up emotional support with service animal, but my question still stands. How is this going to impact the teachers?
Right, it doesn't really impact them because all we're doing is just reiterating our compliance with federal law.
They have to be trained, and they have to have a trainer
Yeah.
with the animal. So it's not so much going to be on the teachers to be responsible for the dog. I'm not going to say pet, but dog.
Okay.
It's for the well-being of the student, whether it be a seeing eye dog or they need it for some other purpose, but there's a trainer.
Yeah.
Sherry, can I just speak? Oh.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So a therapy dog comes in. We've had therapy dogs for years where the kids read to them. Currently, there's one at the elementary school who lays in the hallway, and the kids just love on that dog. And it's just to provide that comfort to everyone. He is certified, had to be certified by a trainer, and all of the kids can interact. If we have a service dog come in, a service dog has a job. And so the kids would not be able to pet that dog like a normal because he's working, right? So it will take training not only for the teachers, training and education not only for the teachers, but also for the students to know the difference. But they have to be certified either way. They have a state licensure number that they will have to provide to us, that they were trained and certified. And also they have to be under control of their handler. So it might not be a certified trainer in the building, although the trainer comes initially. Once that dog is certified, then they have to be under control of whoever they're providing that service for. So, and it's a job, like they might be, some dogs do low blood sugar. They alert for low blood sugar, seizures, seeing eye dogs. Those are probably the most common ones. Right. But they don't legally have to have that vest. And as long as they're under control and they have that certification, then they are permitted in most ADA, under ADA, they're in most buildings.
I got just a small thing under the animals in the school that says animals may not be transported in school vehicles. Does that apply to the service and therapy animals as well? Okay, I just want to make sure of that, so.
Yeah, that's a great question, but it's a separate policy. So if the IEP says that the service dog is to be riding either in the school van or the school bus, if that's what they agree upon in the IEP, that's what will happen.
So you can bring your seeing eye dog, but you can't bring your pet dog.
Correct.
Correct.
Sometimes they're one and the same.
Dania.
She said yes.
Yes.
She's never.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
I will accept a motion to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A.
Before we do that, we kind of skipped over other business, and I was going to make us, present the thing I had from the primary school. Is that? Oh, no, I was going to do it under other business. I didn't listen. It's been heard of before.
We've had a request to do a Halloween table. Elaine can tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah. I was contacted by the primary school, and they are going to be hosting a trick-or-treating at their building on Friday, October 31st, and they have time scheduled for each grade level from beginning at 12:40 to 1:25 to cover all the grades. They are TJ. Thank you, Sherry. They are going to be trick-or-treating, and they're staying away from candy as a treat. We are asking that you talk to, as a team, and this is our team right here, that what we would like to have for sharing. But the idea basically comes down to, would we as a board like to, we've been invited to have a table to treat the kids, and we have some discretionary funds available. I'd be happy to do the purchasing, whatever, and I have the numbers. Oh, yeah, thank you. And we'll try to make it something like notepads or something like that, that the kids each get to have. It's no fun not giving candy. I gotta tell you, it sucks. Okay, it's very, I gotcha, but yeah. I would be willing to take that on, and if any other people would like to be there to help man the table, it is the Friday the 31st. Halloween, yeah. And we'll probably meet to set up around 12:15, and they begin at 12:40, and it goes through 1:25. So anybody like to join, and it's at the primary school. And they even have a special place for us to set up. But in order to use those discretionary funds, which I think you suggested $70, and I've already said I would throw in another 20. And if anybody else wants to, okay, see me. I'll get a bill, and then you guys can, whatever is left over, just hand over the cash, Dawn. Hand over the cash, baby. So I'd like to personally make the motion that we fund this celebration for trick-or-treat at the primary school.
For no more than $70.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we'd love to have you. Show up. Yeah, show up. I'll plan on it. Great, thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Elaine.
No problem, no thank you.
Okay, now, enter into a motion to enter into executive session, personnel matter regarding 1 MRSA 4056A, superintendent's evaluation.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? the holiday, Indigenous Peoples' Day. Next regular board meeting, October 23rd. And finance meeting on the 23rd, and policy meeting on the 20th.
There's the buildings and grounds, we didn't put it on the calendar yet, tomorrow.
I will accept a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Thank you, everybody.